Good evening. It's Wednesday, June 18th, 2025, and welcome to the Town of Carmel Town Board. Tonight's Town Board meeting is a double. We have a voting meeting with 12 items and a work session with 5, and we also are doing a public hearing to begin with. If everybody please rise, face the flag, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Everybody please remain standing for all those men and women in uniform. Thank you. So I call this meeting to order, and I ask our town clerk, Alice Daly, if she could please do a roll call attendance.
Councilman Lugo?
Here.
Councilman Kearns?
Present.
Councilwoman McDonough? Here. Councilman Lombardi? Here. Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. So tonight is a public hearing number 1. It's a local law amending Chapter 156 of the Town Code of the Town of Carmel. Alice, could you just read the public notice part?
Sure. Notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel will conduct a public hearing at Town Hall, 60 McAlpin Avenue, Mahopac, New York, 10541, on Wednesday, June 18, 2025, at 7 p.m. or soon thereafter that evening as possible, on a proposed local law amending Chapter 156 of the Code of the Town of Carmel entitled Zoning. Copies of the full text of the proposed local law are available in the lobby at Town Hall, from the Town Clerk's office during normal business hours, as well as on the Town of Carmel website at townofcarmelny.gov. At said public hearing, all interested persons shall be heard on the subject thereof. The Town Board will make every effort to assure that the public hearing is accessible to persons with disabilities. Anyone requiring special assistance and/or reasonable accommodations should contact the Town Clerk. By the order of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, Alice Daly, Town Clerk.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
If there's no objections, I'll waive the reading of the text and ask for somebody to make a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by McDonough, and all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. So the public hearing is open. If anyone would like to get up and comment? Okay, seeing how there are no comments at this time, can we get a motion to leave the public hearing open until our next meeting, July 2nd, for written comments and suggestions?
So moved.
Second.
And so McDonough, Kearns, McDonough, and then all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Can I get a motion to open our voting meeting?
So moved.
Lombardi, and a second?
Second.
All three of them, and all in favor?
Aye.
Our first bit of business is, could somebody please make a motion to accept the minutes from May 21st and June 4th?
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by McDonough, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. The first resolution is making reappointment to the Environmental Conservation Board of the Town of Carmel. Mike Lugo, could you read that for us?
Resolved that Emily Lavelle is hereby reappointed to the Town of Carmel Environmental Conservation Board for a term commencing immediately and expiring on June 13th, 2028. I offer this resolution as read.
Seconded by Lombardi. Can we please have a roll call?
Councilman Lugo?
Yes.
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. The second resolution is authorizing improvements at Sycamore Park and Airport Park. Councilman Lombardi, could you read that?
Resolved, the Town Board of Town of Carmel, in connection with the proposal Eagle Scout project of Celeste Capellini, hereby authorizes the performance of improvements at Sycamore and Airport Park in accordance with the memorandum and plan provided by Director of Recreation and Parks Nina Kalmeyer, as detailed in the memorandum of the Town Board dated March 7, 2025. And be it further resolved that upon presentation of assurance certificates for all vendors and contractors proposed to perform improvements in connection with this authorization in form acceptable to Town Council, the aforesaid work may commence. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Kearns and McDonough.
All in favor?
We have a roll call, please.
Councilman Lugo?
Yes.
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. The third resolution is acknowledging emergency repairs, Carmel Water and Sewer Districts. Councilwoman McDonough, could you read that?
Yes, resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of the various water and sewer districts of the Town of Carmel, hereby acknowledges the emergency performance of water and sewer district collection system, distribution system, and treatment facilities repairs as fully detailed in the memorandum of Town Engineer Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., to the Town Board dated June 5th, 2025, as attached hereto and made a part hereof. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Second by Kearns. Can we have a roll call again, please?
Councilman Lugo?
Yes.
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. Next up is resolution authorizing equipment lease, Town of Carmel Highway Department. Councilman Kearns, could you read that?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, upon the recommendation of Highway Superintendent Michael Stern, hereby authorizes the lease of screening unit from Promac Northeast Incorporated, Eastchester, New York, at a monthly cost not to exceed $12,000, and in accordance with proposal dated on May 1st, 2025. I offer this resolution as read.
Second?
Second by Councilwoman McDonough. Can we have a roll call again, please, Alice?
Councilman Lugo?
Yes.
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. Next up is a resolution authorizing the vehicle repairs, Town of Carmel Highway Department. Councilman Lugo, could you read that?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, upon the recommendation of Highway Superintendent Michael Stern, hereby authorizes payment for repairs to Highway Truck Number 48 to Camerata Auto Parts, Enfield, Connecticut, at cost not to exceed $14,250, and in accordance with the proposal invoice dated 5/12/2025. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Second by Lombardi. Can we have a roll call again?
Councilman Lugo?
Yes.
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. Number 6 is accepting proposal and extending agreement for IT services. Councilman Lombardi, could you read that?
Resolved, the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the extension of its existing agreement for managed service agreements with Naka Technologies, LLC, Central Islip, New York, for a period of 1 year commencing July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, at an annual cost of $76 per user. And be it further resolved that upon review of insurance certificates in form acceptable to Town Council, Town Supervisor Michael Cazzari is hereby authorized to execute any and all future documentation necessary to effectuate such contract extension. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Second by Lugo. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilman Lugo?
Yes.
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. Number 7 is a resolution amending the contract for personal services, FEMA HGMP 4480-0095, generator acquisition and installation project. Councilwoman McDonough, could you read that for us?
Yes. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of the various water and sewer districts within the town, hereby authorizes the amendment of the contract with Weston and Sampson, P.E.L.S. L.A. Architects, P.C., Albany, New York, for the professional engineering services required for design, permitting, bid assistance, and construction administration services required in connection with the above project. Said amendment to provide for New York Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services supplementary conditions. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Second by Lombardi. Can we have a roll call?
Councilman Lugo?
Yes.
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. Number 8 is authorizing the signing of utility work agreement, County of Putnam, PIN number 8761.97. Councilman Kearns, could you read that?
Before I read this, Rich, did we contact the county about discussing them maintaining the road? Was that included in this contract?
No, the road's maintained by the operator of the water system.
But we'll be paying for that, correct?
That's us, right?
It's in the contract. They already are, it's in there already for them to take care of it.
Exactly, but the county is creating the cause of the roundabout, is that correct?
So the answer to your first question, we have not contacted the county on that regarding that question that came up at last week's meeting. They are putting the road in, they're gonna maintain it until we have to take it over. The question that came up is, will they take it over for ad infinitum? That was something Greg, I believe, not to throw Greg under the bus because he's not here, would ask legal counsel on that.
So can I make a motion to table this until we have that conversation?
Second.
That's on the board. So I will just let you know, and again, I'm okay with that. It's not that I'm saying that you shouldn't, but they are waiting on that particular agreement to put this project out to bid, and it is a federal contract, so the county needs us to do this and vote on it. Again, I'm not trying to defend the county. They should come here and talk if they need to,
Yeah.
but they need the town to agree this agreement, and then they're ready to put this particular project, which is the Stone Lane Roundabout, out to bid.
So then Greg will reach out to their attorneys and we can discuss, because again, they're creating the,
A longer driveway.
exactly, so we shouldn't have to pick up the cost to maintain that road because of an inconvenience created by them. So I want to make a motion to table this until Greg has an opportunity to speak to their attorneys.
And I will make a phone call also tomorrow now that you do your vote. Sorry.
Yep.
I agree.
Yeah, I
So
think Lugo
this seconded
did.
from Lugo.
Yeah.
So,
Because we didn't get the answer from last week, so we're going to follow
No.
up and make sure that they're going to
Yep.
maintain it.
all in favor?
Aye.
I'm a no.
You a no? Okay.
Number 9 is a resolution authorizing award of bid storage tank rehabilitation for Carmel Water District Number 2. Councilman Lugo, could you read that?
Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Carmel has previously authorized advertisement for bids with respect to the above project, and whereas such bids were received and opened on January 23rd, 2025, and the bid opening memo is on file with Town Clerk Alice Daly, and now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of Carmel Water District Number 2, and upon the recommendation of Town Engineer Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., awards the aforesaid bid to Harold Construction, the low responsible bidder, meeting specifications at a contract cost of $2,783,500, and be it further resolved that upon review of insurance certificates and bonds in form acceptable to Town Attorney, Town Supervisor Michael Cazzari is hereby authorized to execute all contract instruments and other documentation necessary to accept such bid and contract for said services. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Kearns. Can we have a roll call on that, please?
Councilman Lugo?
Yes.
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi? Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. Number 10 is a resolution authorizing acceptance of a proposal for professional services, Carmel Town Hall and Recreation Department phone system upgrades and repairs. Councilman Lombardi, could you read that?
Resolved, the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the acceptance of the proposal of Superior Telephone Systems, Salt Point, New York, for the provision and installation of telephone and communication system equipment at Town Hall and Recreation Department facilities at a total cost not to exceed $7,894.94, and in accordance with the proposal for each facility is dated May 27, 2025. And be it further resolved, Town Supervisor Michael Cazzari is hereby authorized to execute any and all documentation necessary to accept the aforesaid proposal on the terms authorized herein. And be it further resolved, the Town Controller Marion Maxwell is hereby authorized to make any and all necessary budget transfers or modifications required to fund the cost of this authorization. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Lugo. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilman Lugo?
Yes.
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. Next up is a resolution declaring certain equipment obsolete and authorizing its disposal. Councilwoman McDonough, could you read that?
Yes, resolved that upon the recommendation of Town Supervisor Michael Cazzari, the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby declares the following equipment to be obsolete and authorizes its disposal in accordance with town law, including but not limited to Town Law Section 64, 2-A, a Fellows Power Shred 225 CI/paper shredder, serial number 225 CI 151223 AD 0023994. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Lugo. Can we have a roll call again?
Councilman Lugo?
Yes.
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. And our final voting meeting resolution is acknowledging emergency repairs at Sycamore Park. Councilman Kearns, could you read that?
Yep. Resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby acknowledges the emergency performance of asbestos remediation at Sycamore Park by ServPro at Putnam County at a cost of $12,635. I offer this resolution as read.
Second?
Before we vote, did you get, I know Nina, you and I spoke about this, did you get a chance to speak with Quest about air monitoring and who's going to be overseeing the abatement? because I know I see here in ServPro's proposal, it includes air sampling, but usually what happens is that you usually have to have a third party monitor the abatement company that's actually performing the abatement. They can't monitor themselves. So I just want to make sure that we're capturing that before I vote yes.
Yeah, so I could, I'm going to follow up with Weston and Sampson on that, but that was included in it. And
So
I'm not
Quest is-
sure if they're going to be doing it as an outside vendor, but I could definitely ask Carl that. I could reach out to him right now
Yeah.
and see, but
I mean, I'm still going to move forward with voting with this, but I just want to make sure that we're tracking, because usually you have to have a third-party air monitoring company there while the abatement is going on. They have to clear the containment center
Yes,
and check
and-
for verification of licenses and insurance. I see here it's included in ServPro's estimate, but I just don't. I've never seen a company do it for themselves. It's usually another vendor that monitors the project.
I don't know if Rich has any note on that, but
Do you agree, Rich?
I think we had
Gave a
ServPro
thumbs
do
up.
it last, when they did the mold, I think ServPro did the testing.
Yeah, well, mold and
Also.
abatement are two different things. There's
yeah,
different
so I will definitely
regulations.
follow up with Carl from Weston and Sampson on that, and I could do that right now. But I know that that was included in it, and if it was included in this, or if it was included as an independent vendor.
Yeah.
But I know Quest was the original company that came out and gave us the original report.
Yeah.
So I know that it was going to be included after, right? Because we had to do that. I know that that was part of the process. I'm just not sure if that was either included in this ServPro quote, or if that was something that was
Yeah, I-
negotiated with them, between them and Weston and Sampson prior to.
Yeah, because usually what happens is they're there in conjunction with the contractor. They set up their containments. They give the air monitor and company will give them the green light to perform the work. They
Yep.
perform the work, they sample it, and then they give them the green light to break it down. So ServPro isn't, I don't think they're legally allowed to do it if they're performing the work. So I think we
Yes,
need
no, I
to.
understand. I understand what you're saying. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I will definitely, I'll find out for you. I could do that immediately and ask them. I can even reach out to ServPro too, and just see if they have a separate company coming in to test it at the same time.
Perfect.
Nina, real quick, also, this was originally quoted for the 1,000 square feet, correct?
It was for,
Wasn't it 1,000? Now it's 320?
it was for 1,000, and now it's 320.
So now it's 320, and
Yes.
the quote didn't change, you're saying we're still... it's
Their quote didn't change,
Everyone
because what
else
had
was-
happened was the original quote that was sent out said 1,000 square feet in it. But ServPro came and did their own measurements, right? So we usually send the quote out to everybody, so everybody's apples to apples.
Correct.
ServPro came and did their own measurements and quoted based off of that.
So that was
when I-
probably the significant price difference as well,
Yes, so
right?
when
Okay.
we met with the board, we followed up with all the vendors. I followed up with Weston and Sampson. I went out myself and measured it, and
Alright,
then
good.
gave them those measurements. They were able to come up with the 320 square feet, and then all the vendors that we originally reached out to sent in new quotes. Well, we asked for 3 quotes, but only 2 of the 3
I
sent in
mean, the
quotes.
price originally was shocking from the other two.
Yeah.
So 12,000,
Yeah.
320 square feet makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, and the other quote that we did receive was around 18,000,
Yeah,
so
that's
from
fine.
30, right?
Awesome.
So, yeah, definitely, it did significantly come down, so thank you guys for picking up on that.
Yeah, no problem.
And we're actually, just to let you know, they already removed the deck, because we did see it as an emergency. We have camp next week, right? We start on Monday, the 30th, so we needed this to be done before summer camp started. They removed the deck already today. Tomorrow, they're coming in to do the abatement. So I will find out today.
Well, yeah, before they
they
do the-
move forward with
Yeah,
that.
they can't do anything and before we clear that up, because if, I want to make sure that, they're following the correct protocols.
And I know that they did already send it to the state, and they got the permit through the state as an emergency as well. So instead of that 10-day window that usually, I guess, you have to wait,
So,
right?
so it's a 3-day?
Yeah, so they were able to get it down to a 3-day. So that's why they were able to come in a little bit earlier to take down the deck, and then they were going to start the abatement tomorrow. But I will find out before we
Perfect.
leave tonight.
Good job, Nina.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks, Nina.
You're welcome.
So moved.
So seconded by McDonough and Lombardi. We get a roll call, please?
Councilman Lugo?
Yes.
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. Thank you, Alice.
Thank you.
Can we get a motion to close the voting meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Seconded by McDonough, and all in favor?
Aye.
So opening up the work session. Anybody?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
So first up is our town comptroller, Mary Ann Maxwell. Consider request for budget revisions for May 2025.
Thank you,
Mary Ann,
Alice.
good evening.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good
Alice.
evening. Okay, yes, so this is the budget revisions through May of 2025. The first one in the general fund, we're providing for a payout of accrued time for a retiree in the assessor's office, and that total is $47,690. Number two, we're providing for the payout of accrued vacation time, a total of $6,220 in the comptroller's office and engineering. Number three, we're providing for labor legal services of $75,000. Labor legal services, we have to take $75,000 from the fund balance because the budget in this line was only $36,000. So those costs totaling, I think it was like $72,000, is only through April. So we do have to pull money from the fund balance to cover the remainder of the year. Number four, we're providing for retro pay on overtime on differential in the police department. So we did have to pull $31,000 also from the fund balance because this was something that was, I guess, missed in the contracts.
Right.
And we had to pay the retro to the police officers for years going back, so.
And that
So
went
that
out,
was-
that went out already? That was paid out to them?
That was paid out to them, yes, for not all of them,
But the individuals who were owed?
individuals that, yes, not all of them, but the ones that was given to me to process the retro.
Right. And that was done in conjunction with the police department and the controller's office. So we got the correct numbers from the police department, who was owed the differential, so we're all square.
Right, going forward, you mean, you're talking about, or?
Correct.
Yes, that's correct. It was something in the contract, in the contract that was missed, so. Number five, we're providing for police overtime and training from a wellness and accreditation grant. That's $11,902 of grant money that the police department has received. Also, in the police department, they received $5,000 for a PERMA vest grant. So we're providing for the purchase of that. Number seven, we're providing for police accident repairs from an insurance claim of $2,300. Number eight, we're providing for purchase of police patches through seized assets funds. That's $1,035. And number nine, we're providing for miscellaneous police items from a discovery grant of $2,900. So the rest of the general fund, I'll cover them, but most of them are just transfers. I'd like to go over the ones that we're either providing from the fund balance or a revenue fund. I did want to touch on the number 14, transfer for a change order for the town hall AC replacement. That's coming from the contingency line. Number 15, also from the contingency line, we're taking $1,000 to cover the taxes on the, actually, no, this was an appraisal on a property. So we had to take $1,000 to cover that from the contingency line. And then number 16, we're transferring from property maintenance services of Kelly Cemetery. So that was not budgeted. So those funds right there were taken from the contingency line. I don't know why I can't say that, but. And then also on page 2, we're taking $3,170 from the contingency line. So the balance right now in that line is $22,611 for the rest of the year.
Mary Ann, what was that? I'm sorry.
In the contingent, $22,611. That's what's left in that line.
Okay.
Okay, in Carmel Water District number 2, we're transferring for the provision of a supplemental facilities plan. This is for, this was supposed to be $50,000. That was the Delaware Engineering that we approved. We only did the budget revision for 15, so the next time we go around with the budget revisions, we'll have to do the other 35, because the full cost of that supplemental plan was $50,000. So that was not budgeted. We do have the funds in the operating budget, in the district expenses, so we didn't have to charge that to the capital fund. Okay? Carmel Sewer District number 1, towards the bottom of the page, number 24, we're providing a transfer for emergency repairs. We're taking $25,000 from that fund balance in Sewer District number 1. And on page 3, sewer district number 6, we're taking $5,000 from the fund balance. And that's also for equipment and utility expense. Number 28, in Carmel Lighting District, we're taking $25,000 from that fund balance, and this is to do with the pole light replacement costs. So that, there's a lot of work going on up there with poles that, were dangerous, had to be taken down. I think it's going to be going out to bid to replace the poles. I'm not sure, we can talk to Rich about that, but we did have to pull $25,000 just to cover the costs that we've incurred so far. So I don't know where that's going to come in if we do go out to bid.
Did we, I know we discussed, are we gonna get backups for that in case we run into the situation again where we have extras on hand for those light
I
poles?
think, well, ARPA, with ARPA, we did
One pole?
purchase 2 of
One
them.
pole, Rich said.
Yeah.
Yeah, one extra.
One extra? Okay. I thought it was-
We
yeah, So
ordered.
we did through ARPA
Better
funds.
than nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we ordered it.
But I think there's more work as far as and there was excavating work
Repair the
and
sidewalk,
other
probably.
Yeah.
electrical work that was not budgeted, so we did have to pull from the fund balance.
Yeah, the
So
bases were bad.
So I'm going to keep an eye on that, but if, what we'll have to do is either borrow from the general fund or in the 2026 budget. I know you don't like doing that.
No, I do
No.
not.
In the 2026 budget, we could replenish the fund balance if necessary. Hopefully, 25,000 is all we have to take, but I don't know where that project stands, so. Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary Ann.
that's it, yep, for that.
With the promise of the sales tax revenue coming to us, we're going to replenish that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah, we could set up a fund for that.
yeah, absolutely.
So your second item, this is your proposal for the property validation,
Yes, valuation.
valuation.
Valuation, yes.
Validate
So-
my valuation.
An audit requirement for the town of Carmel is to report the town's fixed assets or capital assets. This requirement is governed by GASB Statement Number 34, which requires all government entities to use accrual accounting and depreciate their capital assets. Currently, the town reports their fixed assets in Excel. I do this every year, and I manually depreciate the assets. When it comes time for the audit, I have to do this. So the town auditors, O'Connor Davis, is strongly recommending that the town automates the process to ensure more accurate, efficient capital asset record keeping and reporting. Alan is going to be coming next month, and he'll go over this, the CAFR, and in this here, is where they state that they recommend that we automate this process. I think it's a long time coming. It's been on my bucket list for quite some time. CBIZ Valuation Group is the company that NYMER contracts with to assess the property, our properties, our insured properties, insured assets. So upon a recommendation from the town's auditors, I contacted CBIZ Valuation Group, and I've attached the proposal for the fixed asset reporting. So on page 4 of the proposal, the cost for this, for the cost to the town for inventory valuation of all locations is $18,600, and that's including the water and sewer districts. That's,
Is that per year? Or?
no, that's the cost for them to come out for that year, for the first year. Okay, so that's on page 4, it's $18,600. And that's including, the water and sewer districts, so they will look at all of our facilities as well. And then for 2026, it's a cost of $1,900, because what they'll do is they'll give us, once they come out the first time is the big, is
legwork.
the most work, exactly. They'll go out, and I can go over this step-by-step process that they laid out in the email that they sent to me. They'll set up a kickoff call with any managers with the sites that they'll be visiting. So obviously it would be highway, police department, recreation, the water and sewer districts. I would assume like Infomark would be involved, and B&J, because they'll have to go to the plants and stuff like that. And they'll do like a bar coding, or they'll tag our assets. So it's called barcode tagging of assets. So, they'll meet with all of the department heads and, go out to all the sites and take care of that for us. So I think the first year is the biggest work. And then what they'll do, and as far as what's nice is because they work with NYMER already, they already have our value on the buildings and the vehicles. So they don't have to look, so the police cars, they'll have the values already for those. So they don't, have to basically tag them, barcode those. It's more the equipment in the water and sewer districts. I think Rich has some data on that as well, like Infomark has data, B&J has data, so we'll work, closely with the water and sewer districts operators as far as that's concerned. So,
Mary, I was just looking, I don't see, I mean, it may be here, this is really fine print. The school building,
that will have to be added. That was this year.
okay.
Or maybe it was it last year? When did we do that? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this
The roller rink
this
is there
is,
anyway.
Yeah, the roller
yeah,
rink
we'll
is
have
there.
to, that's what they'll do. They'll look at all
Okay.
of our assets, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They'll get a list, from, yep. They'll get a list of all of our, anything was added this year. I think that was this year. That was, it was, right? Yeah, yeah.
Now-
Yeah, so what they have here is through 12/31,
Now,
24.
the 18,600, do you know where we would get that from?
Yes, that will, so I have a 73,000 set aside for software upgrades in the contingency budget. So that's where that will come from. And what they'll do is they'll give us, now, the option, they'll give us this Excel spreadsheet, and we can update this. My staff will update it next year. So it's not like we're going to have to pay that every year. It's $1,900. There is an option that they could come back next year, and we can get a quote from them to do this again if we feel like it's, worthwhile.
Okay,
Okay?
yep, thank you.
Does that make sense to everyone, or? I think it's
Yeah,
a,
it makes sense.
yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay?
20th century.
Yes. Exactly. All right,
So,
thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Mary Ann.
So our third, fourth, and fifth items are Richard J. Franzetti, PE Town Engineer.
The one and
First up,
only.
notice of intent for seeker for lead agency downtown revitalization project. Hello, Rich.
So this one's short and sweet. There's a short environmental assessment form for the construction aspect of downtown Mahopac improvements, Swan Cove. It's your notice that you should declare your notice of intent to serve as secret lead agency. Simple and straightforward.
Yep, perfect, thank you, Rich.
And then your modeling.
Everything good? So the next one is number 4.
Oh, wait, not modeling, nope. I skipped.
So this is modeling services,
it.
number
It is
4,
modeling,
on-call
yeah.
modeling services. So originally, as part of the water tank rehab contract, Weston and Sampson developed a model of Water District 2. The intent of the model was to determine if the Lindy Drive tank and clapboard ridge tanks could be taken out of service without the need for additional temporary water provisions. We requested in #22 that they continue to assist the use of the hydraulic water model to support other needs regarding Carmel Water District 2. At that time, it was to evaluate the proposed system modifications, impacts of new development, and included evaluation of a bypass water main for Stoneley Roundabout, which was conducted in 2023, going back to the thing we talked about before. In 2025, the planning board has asked that Weston and Sampson, or asked the engineering department to ask Weston and Sampson to conduct a remaining capacity analysis to determine Carmel Water District's 2 ability to meet future demands based on vacant properties, proposed development, the whole gambit of what we know is going on where properties can be maxed out to. The original contract was in the amount of $7,500. and met the town's procurement policy of a finite threshold under $10,000, and therefore approved by the supervisor in engineering, because that's in our procurement policy. However, the additional request in 2025 exceeded the procurement threshold, and a town board resolution is needed. Weston and Sampson has requested the contract be amended to $12,500, of which about $10,677 has been expended, leaving a remainder of $1,822.
So, Rich, I thought that when we did this, we asked for what can be built out, to give us the number of what can be built out.
So this is the final piece of that puzzle. So what we did was, when we asked for this originally, to see what our capacity, what we were able to do with what was being built. This is that final study that they've completed. So we have that information. I'm still reviewing it right now. So this was to get us there. No, it wasn't the original request was to understand where we were with what was being developed. This is to take the vacant lands and then get a
Right.
better assessment of where they can be built out to. So right now, that's where we're at. Excuse me.
All right.
So
Yeah,
originally,
I
it was
just
just
know-
what was on the books? It wasn't
It was what was
vacant?
on the books and knowing what was gonna be built, but this one is now taking all the other vacant pieces that we're aware of and looking at
And
it
what could
in,
possibly be built.
right, and,
Right,
and
but-
Why
worst
wasn't
case,
it
that was
captured?
never what we did originally.
Right,
It was,
but we discussed that originally. We said, take any, and I remember, take, way back when we met up in Carmel, we said, take any vacant land and do the maximum that they can build out on, and give us that number.
right, but we did initially, because that wasn't done, it wasn't done that way at that time. It was for what was being developed, what was completed.
In 2019.
Now, this has been completed that
22,
way.
I think.
So they did a study for the tank project. We took that model and we used it, right, as in here, to evaluate modifications on impacts of new development and a bypass for Stoneleigh. That's what we asked them to do. That was the on-call modeling services. We had talked about doing that, but we never asked Weston and Sampson at that time to do it. This was something that was done additional. So now, Planning Board had asked for it because they were concerned about any development going on, which we were, and here we are with that. But that's what we have now. We have the answer. We have that. It's just being reviewed. So.
I know, but it's extra money, and I know I brought it up years ago. And now it's extra money. That's what I just get frustrated about.
Why wasn't it captured in the original scope of work?
The original scope of work didn't have that in there. This was something that came out after the fact. I remember just having that discussion, but never bringing Weston and Sampson involved in this. So let's
Yeah.
leave out the fact. It was something we discussed doing, but at the time, I'd have to go back to my notes on that, Susie, to make sure that
I mean,
I'm
it
sure
was-
you're
it was-
right in your
it was
recollection
a
of what
while
you're
ago.
talking about.
Because, and the only reason why I know is because any time I do and get involved in any of the planning, the zoning, the master plan, the zoning, with all of that, it was always whatever properties we have, make it whatever they can be built out. Not that they're gonna do it, but we have to, it's not fair to a landowner who may be able to build something out, and then they don't have enough water and enough septic, you know what I'm saying? So that has always been my
And that's always been a
thing
concern. I agree.
from
And that's
day
been,
one.
and that's
So
what
I'm
I've been
not
banging the
sure-
gong on at every one of our water districts.
Yeah,
We've
I just
only
don't
done
know
it
how
for
it
Water
got
District
lost.
2. We haven't done it for any of our other water districts yet. We don't have a model of our other water districts. That's a bigger project to undertake. We've done some desktop analyses on that to understand what's going on, but this is an actual model where they can know pressure points, they have it in models they call nodules or nodes, right? And they know in those nodes that this section could be stressed more than another section, right? And that's what they did with the model for the tank, and then they did it for the other work that was being performed. And I had made the request to bring us to get this piece, and that just brought us over that $10,000 mark. So we have a full model of the system. We used it when we did the relining. It was used to help us with the relining. So we have been using it, and it has been used as a useful tool. So what we've done is there, but this is just to get us, now we're over that threshold. I have to just review that document and make sure it makes sense. It looks promising that everything was good, that we'll have sufficient capacity, but I don't want to, that's not official, right? So that's a draft comment.
Okay.
if we said future? Is this playing with words?
Just playing
The
on words.
definition of new.
Yeah.
And number
Any other
5.
questions, or we're good?
Chemical supplies?
Yeah, it's playing on words.
So
question
there's
for
a
Greg.
resolution attached to the memorandum I provided. It was to advertise for bids for chemical supplies for our water and sewage districts. The scope of works for the various water and sewer districts. 3 bids were tabulated, 3 bids were received and tabulated as identified. It should be noted the bid from George Coyne was received via email and as such was deemed non-responsive. Based on the results, the following recommendations are made. Slack for the estimated quantities in the contract documents at $182,000 and change, and Surpass based on the contract documents at $88,000 and change. They are the current providers of our chemicals right now. Chemicals for the district are included in our annual budget and will be included in next year's budget. So,
Thanks.
any questions? Are we good?
Rich, off topic, did we ever receive an answer from the DEC with the wetland determination for Swan Cove?
I was waiting for those questions to
Well, here
come
it
up. I
is.
have answers for you.
Give me the answer.
DEC hates us. So they came, visited the site, and deemed it a wetland.
Are you serious?
They deemed it a wetland?
Yes, so let's pull back, yes, they did. So just for the boards up to speed, and I think I sent an email, there was a question from Woodard and Curran. So actually, let me take the big step back. They sent an email today because the question came up when they're gonna have the bid specs out. They're gonna have that, and can I do another email first? 'Cause
I didn't see the email, but
I haven't sent it out yet, because it
Okay,
came
that's why
at
I'm
like
asking.
5 o'clock
All right.
tonight.
Gotcha.
And I haven't had a chance to send it out. So, because I was dealing with the AC unit here, which is a whole nother,
So, all right, so
Cluster.
do we have a formal review of Swan Cove? They deemed it a wetland, or was it just a preliminary walkthrough?
it was a walkthrough. She said it had wetland vegetation in there. It's going to be deemed a wetland, but there's a way that you don't have to wait the 90 days to get a permit. You can do it as part of a fisheries permit, because we're doing the pier and a water protection permit. We're doing the pier and the kayak launch. It could be included as part of that. That's what the person from the DEC wrote, Paige Lewandowski wrote to me today. And so I asked Woodard and Curran to look at it. They called me today at 5 o'clock, but again, I was in the middle of dealing with all the AC stuff, so
But we discussed those permits could take 3 to 6 months as well, correct?
no,
So
that
if we're
permit can
including
go
it-
relatively quickly. They should go faster than 3 to... The wetland determination is to figure out if there's a wetland and if they have a jurisdictional
Totally understand that, but I'm saying
Right.
if we're including it along with the application for
It-
the pier, we were told that could take anywhere from 3 to 6 months.
No, I think that'll go quicker. The water protection one, they're in process of doing it right now. So I have to have that conversation with those guys tomorrow, Woodard and Curran, because they were like, well, no, that's not the way to do it. I'm like, that's what she wrote in an email, that's what we're doing. So let me formulate what needs to go on, and I can get back to you with a little more, this all happened late today, I can get you a better response. But to answer your initial question, they deemed that a wetland because there were wetland growths in there. Those cattails are considered wetlands. So, should have cut them down, Nina.
Just
We
so
can't-
everybody, just so everybody knows what's going on with Swan Cove, we've been fighting and going back and forth, and Rich has been helping us, so we're trying to do our best to get this project going. But obviously, as you can see, we hit some hurdles along
Right,
the way,
so part of the hurdle is you want to have all your permits in hand before you put a project out to bid, because you
course.
don't want to have a contractor claim any delay claims, right, or put any delay claims, and Councilman Kearns can attest to that, right? The moment you don't have a permit, they're going to go, well, I can't do the work, I'm
Yeah.
giving you a delay claim, right? So we're trying to get all those permits in line right now. Part of it was this wetlands one, which we are. The seeker is something we're doing that I've
Yes.
asked the board to do tonight. You're going to vote on lead agency, we'll put that out, we'll have that completed within a normal amount of time, sufficient enough for the bid specs to go out and be awarded.
And are we can't grant a,
Keep it moving.
be grandfathered in since, they deemed that a wetland after we already went out to design?
No, unfortunately, you cannot. But again, I'm still, again, this is still fresh, Band-Aid's still freshly ripped off, so I will focus on this more tomorrow when I'm doing that, so.
They gave themselves the power to make anything a wetland they want.
That's crazy.
Exactly.
Well,
It was never
And
was a
there's
wetland
we have no
before.
recourse. We can't do anything to fight this.
Well, you have a.
We
you
had
have
we had a
recourse as-
letter stating that we wouldn't be challenged as that is a wetland, but that's not holding up.
But you have
Apparently.
recourse as elected officials to go to other elected officials, right? So you could take it to a different level. We started at the science level, right, the basic level, and it can go to the next level where you can ask people to go, give us, this isn't a wetland, let's do it. But let me get you more information so you have the ammunition to go and bring it there and look like,
Because-
that you're not
I mean,
smart
it-
people, but look like extra smart people when
And
you're talking
there were
about it.
buildings there before.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying? That there were buildings.
And
But
this-
it's not
this
that,
is-
it's the channel. It's not, it's the
I-
channel they're talking
the
about.
channel, yeah.
So-
And no, this is the only thing that's really holding us up from putting this thing out to bid.
Well, they're gonna be, so that was another email that came through, so earlier today. I wanted to give you the fish one, but there's the fish advisory, so let me get you the one. Again, I haven't had a chance to send it to you. It came late in the day. Critical, so again, this came from Woodard and Curran. They are thinking by the end of July, they would have the bids out. Because they were looking for information regarding the bank's substructure, their foundation. The bank didn't have any info, so what they're looking to do here, the best estimate is going out to bid end of July, I apologize, and contingent upon how we handle the lack of building foundation info for the structure. It assumes the wetland buffer item gets resolved and DEC wetlands permit is not required, which we need to work on that. And we only issue bid docs for the surcharge program. Remember when we talked about breaking it up into two bids.
Two
So
bids,
the
which we did-
surcharge ones is what
Which we
they
didn't
do.
want to do, though.
They want to
talked
break up the ground in there, put a whole bunch of soil on there, and let it settle
Settle,
over time.
we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Right, but,
We want one base bid, we don't want multiple
Right.
bids.
so one bid. So.
We discussed it on the phone that day, Rich, with me, you, and Councilman
Right, but
Lugo and
this is
Woodard
what he
Curran.
wrote to me today. So again, I think we all need, not we, but I
Yeah,
think
send
a couple
it
of us
out,
need to get on the
let
phone
us-
and beat
let
them
us
up
read
and
it.
talk to them about it, right?
Yeah, because when we originally discussed this with them, we were aiming to go out to bid early June.
Right.
And, like Councilman Lugo said earlier, it's been one hurdle after another. Obviously, the DEC is not helping us by any means. This is not anyone on this board's fault. It's not Woodard and Kearns' fault. But at the end of the day, I think everybody's upset with the progress of Swan Cove, and we want to get this thing moving. So whatever we can do collectively as a board, we want to make sure we're covering our back so we can get this thing moving in the right direction, because there's no reason, Nina moved the farmer's market to a different location because we anticipated on starting this project,
The
and it's just
Sunset
been one
Concert
thing after
Series,
another.
Everything has been.
We there's no excuses, we have to,
But
we
we've
have
been
to figure
trying,
it out.
as long as people know,
Yeah,
we've been trying.
Everyone on
hard.
this board has been collectively working together to get this thing moving in the right direction. And, it's just been one hurdle after another, but there's only so many excuses that we can hear. We have to figure it out and we have to move forward.
Understood?
To an executive session.
We can, yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Maybe we should bring them into an executive
I
session.
agree. I agree
Yeah,
100%.
Schedule the next executive session.
July. Let's bring them into
Yeah.
the first meeting.
Yeah, okay, we'll talk to them.
Yeah. So
You
Rich,
can call a meeting next week for executive session. if
We're
you
calling
want
it
to.
now.
But, what's that?
Call it.
No, the board.
We will.
The board can
but
call
we
for an
have to-
executive
we
session
have
if
to
you wanted
check with
to.
everybody on the board, because when we don't have a meeting, people may have made arrangements.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
So, do you know what I'm saying? We can't
When
just
we
say,
go in the
let's
back
do it. When we
tonight,
go
we'll
in the
figure
back,
it
we can
out.
discuss it.
Again, I just made that suggestion. If you wanted in
Yeah.
the first meeting in July, they will be there. I'll get them there.
Yeah, and again, I want to make
Yeah.
it very,
You direct me on what I need to do with that.
I want to
just
make
made
it very
a
clear, every single person on this board up here is doing everything they can to move this thing forward.
So Rich, just going back to number 4, work session number 4. So back in 2022, I know it could be a play on words, but it says, but to provide a model that can be used by the town for other water system needs now and in the future. So that, to me, and then here, analyze impacts on new demands on the system, such as new developments or new commercial uses. So, to me, that they should have done that, and not for an extra money.
So is that the original one you're looking at?
It's January 31st, 2022.
We're talking about something different now?
I went back to 4, because I'm hung up on this, that they
It's like a
didn't,
thorn.
that they want more money. I hate when people want more money. Yeah, so we can, I'm just saying, before we vote on it, I just think that Greg and we all look at it, but to me, that says it right there. They should have done a
the build-out, the model should have been whatever could be built out now and in the future. So,
I agree, but
Well, no, so to provide assistance, but it was on call what we asked them to do. That I didn't ask him to do all those things. So part of it is the request being made by the town. So that has to be clear. This is what they said they could do, but what we
clear to me.
requested them to do was that. And again, the board didn't even vote on this originally because it was underneath the threshold of the $10,000. So this was done as an on-call thing based on that, and we did it when we needed it. And now I've asked them to do that next step, and it's just gone over that $10,000 mark.
Wait,
It's an
but-
on-call with rates that are there that need to be, taken into account. That's part of the contract that was approved.
right, which they can do. I just don't want to pay extra money for it because it's in here. I mean, we can talk about it with Mary Ann.
We can agree to disagree on that. It's in there, but it wasn't requested.
But why
So-
wasn't it requested?
Because
So-
it wasn't a need at that time. So the needs were different. The needs were tanks. The needs were then looking at the lining system. The needs were a first bunch that we looked at, and then the need came up to just do this full assessment and look at everything. So
what was this at,
it-
2022?
But it may
That's
not
when
have
it
been
first started,
needed
yeah.
back then, but we were eventually going to
But
need it.
isn't,
we-
in
but
20,
the
in
request
20,
was-
in
the request was
2022,
made
what,
this year.
in 2022, didn't you guys begin the rehab or start discussing the rehab of Carmel Water District 2?
Yeah.
So why wouldn't this be included in that conversation?
Again,
It was.
It would make sense to me if you're going to be overhauling a water district that you would include this in.
No, but again, what was requested were, again, it was on-call modeling services. We requested for the tank stuff, right? It was part of the project. The next piece that came up was, hey, we're doing the lining project. How does it impact and what does it do for our system? What happens when we do Stoneley Avenue? We were looking for a bypass over there, right? We were looking for the pipe because that was something. So we were doing what we needed on an on-call basis. That's what we asked them. That's what the contract was for originally. We've gone over the threshold of $10,000. It's still an on-call. We can ask them to do whatever we want in that system. What happened this year was that we were asking to see what happens with all the vacant properties, which was ultimately the goal, right? To do that, and that's what they've completed, right? So we have that information for just the money that was there as part of an on-call modeling service.
All right, correct.
So it was done.
Can you go over this
We
with
can have it
Greg?
with Greg. Yeah, you can, yeah.
And then send us an email with regard to what the conclusion of is, because we can go full circle on this for the next
Okay.
hour.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. So speak to Greg about it, speak to them about it, see what if this was included in the prior contract, then obviously we're not paying it again.
It was not, again,
Brett,
the wording is it wasn't
Rich,
requested.
I know,
There were
Rich,
pieces that were requested.
Rich,
Okay.
just go over it with Greg, send us an email,
Let him look at the
let us
language.
know about it before we vote on it, okay?
There's still a water emergency in Water District 8. The tank was filled today to the manway, filled with chlorine. They're going to fill it up completely tomorrow, let it sit through Monday, and take their first samples on Monday for chlorination and for VOCs, because they did work inside the tank. And they're going to do another sampling on Wednesday, and hopefully we get the results back with a quicker turnaround. We should be able to lift the emergency restrictions Thursday of next week, so a week and a day from tonight. So just so the board is aware and the public is aware, another week. I know we've been blessed with the crappy weather, excuse the language, that it hasn't been hot, even though we're gonna get hit with the heat this weekend, tomorrow and whatnot. But people have not been using that water that much. Just one more week, people, please.
1, 8, 10,
1, 8, 10, and 13.
Rolling Greens. Yep. Thank you, Rich.
The fish advisory for Mahopac, I sent the board an email on that. So the New York State DEC sent an advisory for how much fish you can eat out of Lake Mahopac with regards to walleye, small bass, northern pike, and all other fish.
One a week.
up to-
So that's for Mickey and Kenny.
That's
Mercury.
up to one meal a month of walleye because of mercury. Don't eat if greater than 19 inches.
19 inches.
Put it on the website tomorrow.
What's that? Well,
On the website.
that should be on the website. So,
Email Mickey.
It is on the website.
smallmouth bass,
I read it. I was like,
I know he
PFAs,
doesn't.
northern pike, mercury, and all other fish PFAs. So,
All right. I only catch little sunnies, so.
I'm sure
I
somebody
don't-
does. I'm sure
Thank
people
you,
do
Rich.
eat.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you, Rich.
Let's do this again. Wait, can we meet this week?
Thank you, Rich.
Public comment?
Frank Ziano. So when are we actually going to put a shovel in the ground, Mike? You said June. What's going on? Swan
You just-
Cove.
You just heard what's going on.
I heard, but I'm asking you. You promised us a shovel in the ground. Is that another political move? When?
So-
I'm asking
so-
again.
So Frank.
I
it's-
don't think-
Wait, I'm talking to Mike. One
I know,
second.
but I
think,
need
uh,
you to understand, it's just not the supervisor's
I know you guys are trying hard,
decision.
but you
What?
can't say something that's not even close. So I'm asking you, maybe you know better than all of us. When are you going to have a shovel on the ground? When are you going to
Well-
give us a dollar amount? When?
Yeah, well, we'll know when the DEC is done and lets us do things, but.
So when you
if
told
wanna-
us
if you want
June,
to-
it's not going to be June this year, maybe next year?
If you want to talk to Governor Hochul.
Is that what you're saying?
You could talk to Governor Hochul and ask her why she
I'm
doesn't
asking
do
you
it.
a question. You said June. Maybe you had something in your head that was going to be June, maybe next June.
Well, we should have had it already by April, but it's
So,
late, so.
like
Can-
I said,
can I-
please,
Okay.
you guys
Thank
are
you.
doing a great job.
Yes.
I'm going to say that.
Thank
But
you.
Michael, you said something. Can you stick to what you say?
Yeah, thank you very much. Anybody else?
We gotta get one of those numbers, pick a number.
Hi, Mary Ann Chaluzian. So with the Swan Cove thing, I know it's not this board's fault or anything, because it was bought way back when, correct? So you guys are doing your best, but right now, hearing that it's wetlands is a little bit disturbing as a taxpayer. Because, you know, we looking at it, when it rains, it becomes this big flood. It's just not nice for the town. And even though now, all of a sudden becomes wetlands, that's like a shock to us. Because it's something that should have been taken care of before.
So-
Again,
the
let
portion-
me
so-
finish, let me
Mary,
finish.
just-
Again, let me finish.
Okay.
I understand the water, this and that, but, you know, you have the big sign out there with Mike, and breaking grounds, and this doing this, and this doing this. It's just, you know, Nina has to move her stuff, Julio has to move the piazza, because we're all getting ready to break ground. I get it, you guys are trying. I admire you for that, and it's nobody's here's fault. I think, Susie, you were the only one at the board at the time when it was purchased. Excuse me? So I think that you have to feel our frustration right now, how we feel about doing this, because it is a lot of money. And besides everything else that we have to pay for, we want Mahopac to move forward. We want Mahopac to be where people want to come to visit. Not people seeing a big mud hole, it's disgusting, or somebody dumping garbage. I'm just saying that I know how fast you're trying to work, and I'm not blaming you guys by all means, but you just have to understand how we feel.
Yeah, so the actual property is not considered a wetland. Rich, correct me if I'm wrong. It's just the drainage that separates Swan Cove from Chamber Park is what they're deeming a wetland. Is that correct?
Like that little
And-
channel.
It's just a culvert.
Yeah,
The
and
channel.
and I un- and I
It's still pushing it back.
And
You're
I
still
under-
pushing it back, and that's
Yes.
our
and
concern.
I understand everyone's concerns. I really do. And at the end of the day, everyone's intention on this board is to make sure that that park is
Yeah.
a staple of our community. And we are going to make an investment that everybody in this community, either Mahopac or Carmel, can enjoy. Every single person on this board, it was our well intentions to have this thing out to bid by June. Unfortunately, like Supervisor Cazzari had mentioned, the DEC put this ruling down on us that slowed down this progress tremendously. If it wasn't for this wetland determination, we'd be going out to bid already. Is that not correct, Rich?
Or we'd be going out in the next 2 weeks, right? We wouldn't
So
be out right now,
we're
we'd be out
there,
sooner.
So unfortunately, there's been unforeseen roadblocks along the way. But together as a team, we might not see eye to eye all the time, but on this project right here, every single person on this board is working as a cohesive group to make sure that this thing gets done correctly.
Mr. Kearns, I think I said that.
No, I know. I just wanted to reiterate.
Thank
But I just wanted to
I don't think
reiterate
that
that.
needs to be repeated.
No, I just wanted
No.
to.
The thing is
I
that
don't-
it was supposed to be done in June.
Yep.
Thank
We were
you.
supposed to move forward.
Yes.
We're not moving forward, we're moving backwards. And it's, like I said, it's very disheartening.
Well,
So
I wouldn't
all
say
of
we're
us-
moving backwards. We're definitely
Well,
moving
if
forward because we're at the
we're
goal
at
line.
the
We're about to
Okay,
we're
okay.
about to put this thing out
We
to
don't need,
bid.
we don't need arguing, but thank you very much.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
And
But this is
Marianne-
another example of what the state of New York keeps doing to us. And as long as we have the administration that's in place in Albany, this is the kind of nonsense with the lead pipes, with all of this, that they're just going to decide on a whim that you got to redo the dams and cost us millions and it's just again and again unfunded mandates. And this is just ridiculous that they decided in January, now we can pick if it's a wetland or not. It's not on the map, but we're going to pick. So we have no control. Only control is next November, don't vote for Hochul. Like, that's what we got to do. But anybody, Tim.
Yeah, and Mary Ann, I'm just as frustrated, believe me. Every day I drive down there, it's just like, come on. I'm afraid I'm gonna have 10 more grandkids before the freaking thing gets started. You know, no.
Susie,
But-
Susie, that's
No,
not
I know.
happening. That's not
But
happening.
it is very, very, very frustrating. It really is, because my dream was to have it done before I left, and it's not, you know, so I feel your pain. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hi, everybody. My name is Timmy Farina. I know most of you know this, but I recently graduated with a Master's of Architecture and a minor in History from Yale University. I'm here just to make a quick statement on the Hill Acre Farm, AKA Airport Park. I'm doing this for the benefit of you all as town board members, just to shed some light on this very important property in our town, to offer my expertise as to what I think could be done, and to propose that the ongoing collaboration between the town and county happening at Airport Park be extended to include the preservation of the historic farmhouse and to secure the best possible outcome for the community. Firstly, I want to ask if you believe in the promise of America, that this land, this extraordinarily beautiful land, is a place where you and I can build a life for ourselves, for our family, and to work for the good of our country and to live peacefully and free. This is certainly what William Hill believed when he built his farm in Mahopac almost 300 years ago. You see, Mr. Hill wasn't just a settler, and the county-owned farmhouse which he left wasn't just another generic house. In fact, I can't think of a single property in the county which better represents the promise of America and manifest destiny than this one. You see, Mr. Hill arrived here in the early 1700s to start his new life, and there were still an estimated 2,000 Wappinger Indians living in what is now Putnam County. Mr. Hill received the deed to his property from the Wappinger themselves, and it's the first and only example existent in Putnam of that land claim. From the very beginning, his farm was a place to come together to share experiences and cultures with others, and the current use of the park for sports and recreation honors this heritage. When Mr. Hill went on to fight alongside the Wappinger and the British in the French and Indian War, and then he had two sons who were born in the house on Hill Street, fought in the Revolution, and are now buried in the cemetery on Hill Street. In the buildup to the First World War, the United States Military Academy at West Point used the farm with the permission of the Agar Hill descendants for war exercises and mock encampments. This history is rich, not just locally, but to the U.S. military history. And this past April marked the 250th anniversary of the start of the Revolutionary War. In just 2 years, we'll celebrate the milestone of our independence. Not only does this mean that we should be aware of our history, and especially that which is present in front of us, but I believe we should seize this opportunity to do something good with Agar House. The county is working to get the house listed on the National Register, although it's not going quickly as the state is slow at things, which is one step. But the path forward means applying for grants from the state and federal government to bring the property back to a healthy state. There are tremendous amount of funds available in regular times, but given the 250th anniversary of our country, these projects are extremely sought after for funding. They're literally oozing with money to give out to things like this. Not only do I think it's imperative that this house be saved for its historical value, and I believe that much of the expense could be covered through grants, but I also think that as a significant landmark, it could be a revenue generator for the county in connection with the golf course. Whether it's as an accessory to weddings or golf outings or golf packages, bridal suites, et cetera. Some of this stuff has been talked about by Alan Warnicki, or even as a new home for the Historical Society. There's just so much potential for what could be done beyond demolition. I mentioned that I have a degree in architecture, but as you might not know, in 2020, I worked with the American Timber Framers Guild to reconstruct some of the roof trusses for Notre Dame in Paris. My work with the Timber Framers Guild taught me that that type of heavy timber framing, which is not the norm by any means today, has a structural soundness well beyond a light frame house. And I'm not an expert, but I basically want to ask that the house has been condemned, but I know that an expert in timber framing has not assessed the house from their perspective. So that's one thing I wanted to say. I took a look, and for what it's worth, the house is bone dry, even given all the rain we've had. It's in remarkably square, plumb condition for not being occupied for the last 20 years. And surprisingly better than anything we could build today, even given its state. So what I'm saying is that despite the outward appearance, I believe that we should have another assessment done. And just to keep it short and sweet, I'm not naive to how difficult, expensive, et cetera, it would be to work on a project such as this and to get it going, and the inertia is definitely a lot. But I'm willing to give my time pro bono as much as my body can allow to get this started. And I'm inspired by William Hill and his sons and their act of heroism. And I'm asking all of you as the representatives of our community to join in this new heroic effort to save the house, to celebrate what it represents, to save it for ourselves, for our future, for our kids, to be able to learn this history, and to see, what was the word I was thinking of? To see opportunity instead of liability, to see anything besides dollar signs, because there's just so much more value there, and not to deprive our community with any hasty decisions, because it's been there 20 years. I don't think demolishing it in 2 days is going to be important. I think we should give it a due process like we would anything else and really assess what we have before we lose it.
Yeah. Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Timmy. And Timmy, I want to say I love your pictures. I look at them, they're absolutely beautiful, but we'll talk offline. I would love to find the yes in that.
So motion to go to executive session. We have a personnel issue. And all in favor? Oh,
No announcements?
oh, announcement, sorry.
I have a couple announcements.
Go.
First off, I hope everybody enjoyed their Father's Day this weekend. I sure did. Secondly, I'm just encouraging everybody, Tuesday is primary day. Go out and vote. You should have received something in the mail talking about a temporary change in your polling site. Definitely pay attention to that and make sure you go to the proper location to vote. That's it.
Is that it? Anyone else have anything? I have one. You have something?
Yeah, Nino, yeah, because I don't have it in front of me. Concert series, sorry. Putting you on the spot.
So it's okay. So actually, tomorrow is the first night of the concert series. So I know that everybody is very disappointed that we have moved the concerts to Sycamore Park from Chamber Park, but we are trying to take this opportunity to do something great there. Our beach is open Thursday through Sunday for our early season. So tomorrow will be open for Juneteenth. We'll be open all day. It's going to be in the close to 100 degrees, so come on down. Enjoy the beach with the family. The playground is back open at Sycamore Park, and then the beach will be open until 7, and then the concert starts at 7. We're going to have some food trucks, great band tomorrow night, and then we will be going pretty much every Thursday moving forward. We did take a few Thursdays off just for the parade here in town, the Fireman's Parade and the Carnival, because we don't really want to compete with other big events that we have going on in town. Also, Farmers Market, we will be back on next week, and we have some movies coming up, so got a lot of different stuff coming up at the park. Definitely check out our social. We just put out some new posts about different things, and we hope to see you tomorrow night.
Thank you, Nina.
Thanks, Nina. Thanks, Nina.
So this past Friday, my wife and I attended the Putnam County Youth Boroughs Art Show right here in Mahopac. It was unbelievable how talented these young children were. Kevin and myself actually coordinated with Naomi. We're going to be displaying the artwork right here in Town Hall starting Monday for the whole week next week, and they'll be coming to our next Town Hall meeting to present their work to the board. So if you're in the area, swing by, check out their artwork. It's unbelievable how these 6 and 7-year-olds are able to draw way better than myself. So come by and check it out. And other than that, I have nothing else.
All right, so how about now, a motion to go to executive
So
session?
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
See you July 2nd.